Welcome back to KarbTalk. My name is Finn, but you may know me as Karbonic. Today's video topic was decided by Patreon patron Glass, who wanted to hear about the dashboard characters Alex and Nash. Alex and Nash are two characters who have vastly different histories in terms of development. Because of this, I'm going to break them down separately at first. I first started getting interested in the idea of storytelling back in 2007. Of course, since I was 8 at the time, these stories were pretty terrible, but there are still some things that remain even from those days. One of my first ideas was for an adventure series starring two brothers, a younger brother who was reserved and awkward, and an older brother who was outgoing and somewhat silly, much to his brother's dismay. The two would go on high-stakes adventures throughout different dimensions and worlds, causing mayhem wherever they went. Over the years, I dropped various ideas from this and made new ones, evolving these two archetypal characters with time. Eventually, the younger brother would evolve into the character of Nicholas Kawamura, while the older brother developed into Alex Asboth. Over those years, Alex would see many different design changes. In the first incarnation, Alex looked like something I can only describe as a Digimon character, which is strange since I never watched Digimon as a child. He had short spiky hair and wore motorcycle goggles. As time would go on, I started adding more cybernetic aspects to Alex's design, including a robotic hand and a cybernetic eye, which bore a unique design rather than simply looking like a regular human eye. This design was simply a nuclear symbol with two of the outer rays removed, forming what would later become the arc symbol for anything related to the god Tempercall. For some reason, around the beginning of Dashboard's actual development, Alex became a very outwardly serious character, to the point that, in all honesty, he was really edgy. This version of Alex would persist until about halfway through development, where the entire game's writing was completely retooled to a more brighter tone. I remember it was Thanksgiving of 2015, and I was looking over the early draft of Dashboard. I had a stark realization that I simply didn't like any of the characters or find them endearing at all. The tone was far too grim, and not in a fun way. This led to the long process of redoing most of what I had already had of the game at that point, but looking back, I feel like it was worth it. Alex received a heavy redesign, ending with the cartoonish character design we have today. His personality was also given a large overhaul, becoming more of a comedic relief among the main characters. Nash, on the other hand, had a much shorter development time. The oldest drawing of Nash I could find is from around 2013, and I think that's around the time I first made the character. Nash was designed as a robot first and foremost. In fact, the plotline of Nash as a human wasn't thought of until late 2015. Nash wouldn't even receive her final human design until about halfway through the development of Nashboard in late 2018. In her first incarnation, Nash was second in command to a ruthless space-traveling marauder, and spent most of the time carrying out boring drawn-out orders. This version of Nash lacked a name, and was quickly dropped along with most concepts surrounding her. The connection between Alex and Nash has been around for a while, but it's also changed a lot over the years. In early versions before the human Nash plotline was created, Nash was a genuine robot created by Alex. This was the Moonsetter's incarnation, which followed life on the inside of a lunar prison colony. The modern Nash personality was added late into the development cycle of Dashboard, as I felt I needed a more proactive villain than Vurus. In terms of backstory, Alex and Nash grew up as friends in a small rural lake town on Earth. Nash lived alone with her mother, though the two did not interact much. Alex and Nash would spend time together down on the rotting docks of the lake, trying to catch fish. Around the time that the two were both reaching adolescence, their Earth was folded into the newly formed Hinansho City. In this event, Alex was separated from his guardians, and Nash's mother disappeared. Only having each other, and without a representative adult, both Alex and Nash were quickly roped into the ranks of the Young SAPU, a police force which held control over Hinansho. Just as some trivia, both Alex and Nash are named for characters from the 1992 RPG Lunar the Silver Star, which I owned the inferior Game Boy Advance port of. For the longest time, I wanted to name two characters Alex and Nash without realizing why, and I only realized when I revisited Lunar years later. The way that Nash's hair curls around her face is a consistent part of her design throughout all incarnations. In a way, I feel that it acts as a unifying way of identifying any version of Nash. That's about all I can think of for Alex and Nash right now. If you'd like a video like this, you can donate to my Patreon yourself. $10 and up patrons get a video like this every month. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. I certainly enjoyed talking to you. I hope you have a great day.